How can you really tell if a company is doing good in the world? Today, we're going to dig into a brand new way to see past all that corporate hype and maybe, just maybe, find the actual truth.
It's a tough question, right? It stumps investors, it stumps us as consumers, and sometimes it even stumps the companies themselves. We all want to support businesses that are responsible, but how do we know what's real and what's just really clever marketing?
For a long time, the go-to answer has been ESG scores. Just think of it like a report card for a company, grading them on everything from their carbon footprint to how they treat their workers. It's pretty much the main tool we've had, but there's a huge problem hiding in plain sight.
And that brings us right to the heart of the issue. The very data we're using for these corporate report cards, well, it's fundamentally broken.
Yeah, let's not sugarcoat it. It's a mess. The data is all over the place, it's often incomplete, and it can be super slow to come out. And look, this isn't just a small hiccup, it's a problem big enough to threaten the entire system of corporate accountability we're trying to build. So here's how it breaks down. You could have one rating agency give a company an A+, while another one gives that same company a C-. The data can be patchy, and the rules for reporting change completely depending on where in the world you are. It's like trying to compare apples, oranges, and, car tires. It just doesn't work.
This is where the research we're looking at today gets really interesting. A paper asked this brilliant question. What if we could just bypass all those messy ESG reports? What if we could predict a company's real score using standardized, reliable data that every company already reports, like its financial numbers?
And what's the tool for the job? You guessed it, artificial intelligence. The researchers basically made a bet that a machine learning model could be trained to see the hidden patterns in how a company operates. The little things that actually lead to good or bad ESG results.
So here's the critical part. They took an AI and just fed it a massive amount of trustworthy information. We're talking things like revenue, how much energy a company uses, and where it operates. The whole goal was to see if the AI could accurately guess the company's ESG score without ever looking at those inconsistent ESG reports themselves.
But they didn't just use one AI. Oh no, they staged a competition, a kind of AI bake-off, pitting 3 different machine learning models against each other to see which one was the best at predicting corporate giveness.
And believe me, they weren't working with a small sample size. These models were trained on a gigantic data set. It spanned a decade, covered over 1,000 global companies. We're talking about more than 11,000 data points here. So the AI got a really, really good education.
All right, let's meet our contenders. First up is linear regression. This is the old-school baseline. Think of it as a rigid, straight ruler, trying to measure complex, curvy relationships. Not very flexible. Then you've got XGBoost, which is a powerful superlearner that gets smarter by constantly fixing its own mistakes. And finally, there's random forest, which is my favorite analogy. It's like a team of flexible experts. You have hundreds of little decision makers all looking at the problem from a different angle, and then they all get together and vote on the best answer. So, after all that training, all that testing, which one of these digital brains was actually the best at seeing through the corporate hype?
The way the researchers measured this was with something called an R-squared score. All you need to know is this. A score of 1 is a perfect prediction. A score of 0 means the model is completely useless, no better than guessing.
And wow, the results really do speak for themselves. The linear regression model, our straight ruler, was, well, basically no better than a random guess. But the 2 advanced models, way better. XGBoost got a pretty respectable score of 0.56, but the clear winner with a score over 0.6 was Random Forest.
So yeah, the team of flexible experts took home the prize. Its real strength is its ability to handle all the messy, complex, and nonlinear relationships that, define how a company actually works in the real world.
Okay, so we have our winning model. That's great. But honestly, that's just the beginning. The truly fascinating part is what this winning AI actually learned. What things did it discover were most important for predicting a company's score?
This is the key insight right here. If you want to know what really makes a company sustainable, it turns out you don't ask the company. You ask the AI that studied thousands of them.
And the answer is pretty striking. The single most important factor for predicting a company's ESG score is its region, where it operates. That suggests that local laws, regulations, and even cultural norms play a massive role. And right behind that, revenue. Simply put, the sheer size of a company is a huge driver of its impact.
After location and size, the next most important things were all about how intensely a company uses resources. We're talking carbon emissions, energy consumption, water usage. This shows the AI learned to focus on tangible, real-world impacts, not just stuff you find on a balance sheet.
So what does all this mean for the future? How does an academic experiment like this actually change how we think about corporate responsibility?
Well, the researchers call it a sustainability intelligence tool, and I think that's perfect. It's a way to cut through all of the noise and get an objective look at how a company is really performing, all based on data that everyone can actually trust.
For investors, this is huge. It gives them a powerful tool to double-check the official ESG ratings and make smarter bets on companies that are genuinely sustainable. And for the companies themselves, it's like a roadmap. It tells them, hey, worry less about ticking boxes on reports and focus more on what actually moves the needle, managing your resources well and understanding the context of where you operate.
At the end of the day, this is so much more than an academic exercise. A more reliable way of assessing this stuff, as the researchers put it, can improve the quality of sustainability-oriented corporate and investment decisions. It's about making better choices for everyone.
And that really leaves us with this final, fascinating question. For decades, companies have been able to manage their reputations with fancy reports and press releases. But if an AI can now learn to spot the difference between just talk and real action, well, the age of accountability might be about to get a whole lot more interesting.